Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. It's a bright Saturday afternoon, and the city is alive with the buzz of weekend energy. I find myself sitting at a quaint coffee shop, nervously tapping my fingers against the ceramic mug. The rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingles with the hum of conversation and the occasional hiss of the espresso machine. My eyes dart to the entrance every few seconds, my heart pounding with anticipation. She walks in, and time seems to slow. Emily is more stunning than I remember. Her long, chestnut hair cascades over her shoulders, and her green eyes sparkle with a warmth that makes me feel both elated and terrified. She spots me and flashes a radiant smile that could melt the coldest of hearts. "Hey, Alex," she says, her voice like music to my ears. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was a nightmare." "No worries," I reply, trying to sound casual, though my heart is doing somersaults. "I'm just glad you made it." We settle into an easy conversation, talking about everything from our favorite books to the latest movies. She's charming, intelligent, and has a laugh that makes everything seem right with the world. As the afternoon progresses, I can't help but feel that she's perfect. Too perfect. That's when the lie slips out. It's a small one, at first, almost harmless. We're discussing our aspirations, and she mentions her love for traveling. "I've always wanted to visit Paris," she says dreamily. "The city of love, you know." "Yeah, it's beautiful," I respond. "I actually spent a summer there last year." Her eyes widen with surprise and admiration. "Really? That's amazing. What did you like the most?" I tell her about imaginary strolls along the Seine, fictitious dinners in hidden bistros, and completely fabricated visits to art galleries. The words flow easily, and I can't stop myself. She's enthralled, and the look in her eyes makes the lie feel justified. The more we talk, the more elaborate my stories become. I tell her about a successful business venture, a luxurious apartment, and a lifestyle I've only seen in movies. Each lie feels like a thread, weaving a tapestry of a life I desperately want her to believe I have. Over the next few weeks, Emily and I grow closer. We go on romantic dates, explore the city together, and share intimate moments that make me forget about the web of lies I've spun. Every time she looks at me with those adoring eyes, I feel a pang of guilt, but the fear of losing her if she knew the truth keeps me silent. One evening, we're sitting in a cozy restaurant, the kind with dim lighting and soft music. The atmosphere is perfect, and Emily looks breathtaking in a simple yet elegant dress. "Alex, there's something I've been meaning to tell you," she says, her tone serious. My heart skips a beat. "What is it?" I think I'm falling for you," she admits, her cheeks flushing with color. "You're everything I've ever wanted in a partner." My chest tightens with a mix of joy and dread. "I feel the same way," I manage to say, though my voice trembles slightly. We finish dinner, and I walk her back to her apartment. As we stand at her doorstep, she leans in and kisses me softly. It's a kiss that promises a future full of possibilities, but all I can think about are the lies that underpin our relationship. "I'll see you tomorrow?" she asks, her eyes hopeful. "Of course," I reply, forcing a smile. "I can't wait." As I walk home, the weight of my deception presses down on me. I know I need to come clean, but the thought of losing her is unbearable. Instead, I resolve to keep up the charade a little longer, convincing myself that maybe, somehow, things will work out. Little do I know, the decision to maintain this facade will lead me down a path of betrayal and heartbreak. As I unlock my door and step into my modest apartment, a chill runs down my spine. The darkness inside feels more oppressive than usual, as if it's warning me of the storm that's about to descend on my carefully constructed world. But for now, I push those thoughts aside and focus on the memory of her kiss, allowing myself a moment of stolen happiness. It's the calm before the storm, and I'm blissfully unaware of the chaos that's about to ensue. The week flies by in a blur of work and stolen moments with Emily. Each day, the weight of my lies grows heavier, but I bury the guilt under layers of rationalization. Tonight, I've planned something special, a romantic dinner at my apartment. I've told Emily that I wanted to cook for her, to show her a more personal side of myself. In reality, it's an attempt to buy more time before the truth inevitably comes crashing down. I spend the afternoon preparing, scrubbing every surface until my modest apartment gleams. I set the table with my best, only, dishes and light a few candles for ambience. By the time the doorbell rings, the air is filled with the mouth-watering aroma of spaghetti carbonara, the only dish I can cook halfway decently. Emily stands at the door, looking radiant in a simple, flowing dress. "Hey, you," she greets me with a kiss. "Something smells amazing." "Just a little something I threw together," I say with a grin, leading her inside. "I hope you're hungry." As we sit down to eat, the conversation flows easily. We laugh, share stories, and for a while, the night feels perfect. But as dessert approaches, I notice a flicker of something in Emily's eyes, a hint of uncertainty, perhaps. "Is everything okay?" I ask, trying to keep my voice casual. She hesitates, twirling a strand of pasta around her fork. "Yeah, everything's great. It's just, you seem a bit different tonight. Is something on your mind?" I force a laugh. "No, not at all. Just a bit tired from work, I guess." She studies me for a moment longer, then nods, her smile returning. "Well, you're doing an amazing job. This dinner is perfect." Relief washes over me, and I raise my glass in a toast. "To us," I say, "and to many more dinners like this." "To us," she echoes, clinking her glass against mine. After dinner, we move to the couch, where I pour us both a glass of wine. We cuddle close, the warmth of her body next to mine soothing my frayed nerves. But as the night wears on, I start to feel a strange heaviness in my limbs. My eyelids grow heavy, and my thoughts begin to blur. "Are you okay?" Emily's voice sounds distant, almost muffled. "Yeah, just, really tired all of a sudden," I mumble, struggling to keep my eyes open. The room starts to spin, and I feel myself sinking into the cushions. Through the haze, I hear snippets of conversation, voices that seem to come from far away. "Yes, sleeping. Yeah, couldn't find it, no money, cheated on me, bitch, yeah, love, kisses." The words swirl around me, disjointed and confusing. I try to grasp onto them, but they slip through my fingers like sand. The next thing I know, I'm waking up on the couch, my head pounding and my mouth dry. Sunlight streams through the windows, casting harsh light on the disarray around me. Emily is gone, and so are my wallet, laptop, and the few valuable things I own. Panic surges through me as I stagger to my feet, piecing together the fragments of the previous night. It wasn't a dream. Those voices, those words, they were real. And Emily, the woman I thought I was falling in love with, has betrayed me. My phone buzzes on the coffee table, a single text message lighting up the screen. It's from my friend Jake, a guy I've known since college and one of the few people I trust. "Dude, need to talk. Urgent. Meet at the park in 30. I grab my jacket and rush out the door, my mind racing. When I arrive at the park, Jake is already there, pacing nervously. He looks up as I approach, his expression a mix of worry and anger. "Alex, man, I've got some bad news," he says, clapping a hand on my shoulder. "I did some digging on Emily. She's not who she says she is." My heart sinks. "What do you mean?" "She's got a history," he explains, pulling out his phone and showing me a series of articles and social media posts. "She's done this before. Meets guys, gets close to them, and then robs them blind. My blood runs cold as I scroll through the evidence. Photos of Emily with different names, different looks, always with the same endgame. Why didn't I see this coming? I mutter, feeling a wave of nausea. Jake sighs. These people are professionals, Alex. They know how to manipulate, how to make you trust them. But we can't let her get away with this. I look up at him, determination hardening my resolve. You're right. We need to find her and make her pay for what she's done. Over the next few days, Jake and I form a plan. We comb through her social media profiles, track down her previous victims, and piece together her network of accomplices. It becomes clear that Emily isn't working alone, there's a whole crew behind her, orchestrating these cons. One night, we sit in my apartment, surrounded by maps and notes. She's got to have a base of operations, Jake says, tapping a finger on a map of the city. Somewhere she feels safe. I nod, my mind racing. We need to draw her out. Make her think she's got another mark. Jake grins, a gleam of mischief in his eyes. I know just the guy. The next evening, we set our trap. Jake's friend, Tony, a tech-savvy guy with a knack for subterfuge, agrees to pose as our bait. We set up a fake profile for him, complete with photos of luxury cars, exotic vacations, and a fabricated backstory of immense wealth. Within hours, Emily, or rather, the alias she's using now, bites. She's interested, Tony reports, showing us the flirtatious messages she's been sending. We set up a meeting for tomorrow night. The stage is set, and all we can do now is wait. The following evening, we position ourselves at a nearby cafe, keeping a close watch on Tony as he sits at an outdoor table, pretending to sip his coffee. Sure enough, Emily arrives, her seductive smile in place as she approaches him. My heart races as I watch them interact, every fiber of my being screaming for justice. Tony plays his part perfectly, charming her with ease. After about an hour, they get up and head towards a more secluded area, just as planned. Jake and I follow at a distance, our eyes never leaving them. When they reach a quiet alley, Tony turns to her, his expression serious. So, what's your game, Emily? She freezes, her eyes widening in shock. What are you talking about? Before she can react, Jake and I step out of the shadows, blocking her escape. You know exactly what we're talking about, I say, my voice cold with anger. You think you can just rob people and walk away? Fear flickers in her eyes, but she quickly masks it with defiance. I don't know what you're talking about. Save it, Jake snaps. We have all the proof we need. You're going to pay for what you did. She looks around, calculating her chances of escape, but it's clear there's no way out. Fine, she hisses. What do you want? We want our stuff back, I say. And you're going to tell us where your partners are. She narrows her eyes, but there's a glimmer of defeat. Okay, I'll talk. But this doesn't end here. You have no idea who you're dealing with. As she starts to reveal the details of her operation, I realize that this is just the beginning. Emily may be a pawn, but there's a bigger game at play. And I'm determined to see it through to the end, no matter the cost. Emily's confession is just the tip of the iceberg. As she spills the details of her operation, it becomes clear that we've stumbled into something much larger and more dangerous than a simple con job. The information she provides is enough to get started, but it's also enough to make me realize how deep this rabbit hole goes. We meet at an abandoned warehouse near the docks, Emily says, her voice low. Every week, the group gathers to divvy up the spoils and plan our next moves. Who leads this group? Jake asks, his pen poised over a notepad. Emily hesitates, glancing around nervously. His name is Marcus. He's the mastermind. Ruthless, but incredibly smart. If he finds out I'm talking to you, I'm as good as dead. Not if we take him down first, I say, my determination hardening. We're going to need more than just your word. We need evidence. She nods, swallowing hard. I can get you inside. But you need to promise me protection. Witness protection, a new identity, everything. Jake and I exchange a look. We'll do what we can, he says. But first, we need to see this through. The next few days are a whirlwind of preparation. Emily gives us the details we need to infiltrate the warehouse, while Tony sets up surveillance equipment to capture everything. As we plan our approach, the tension is palpable. This isn't just about getting my things back, it's about bringing down a criminal network that has ruined countless lives. The night of the operation, we gather in a small, dimly lit room filled with monitors and equipment. Tony adjusts the last of the cameras while Jake double-checks our earpieces. Remember, Tony says, his tone serious, we need to get as much footage as possible. The more evidence we have, the better our chances of taking these guys down. Emily sits in the corner, her face pale but resolute. I'll lead you in, she says. Just stay close and follow my lead. We dress in dark clothing and load up on the essentials, flashlights, recording devices, and a few self-defense tools, just in case. My heart races as we approach the warehouse, the oppressive weight of anticipation settling over me. Emily leads the way, her steps sure and confident. As we reach the entrance, she signals for us to wait. She walks up to the door, knocks in a specific pattern, and it creaks open. A burly guard eyes her suspiciously. Who's with you? He growls. New recruits, she replies smoothly. Marcus wants to meet them. The guard grunts and steps aside, allowing us to enter. The warehouse is a sprawling maze of dimly lit corridors and large open spaces filled with crates and machinery. We follow Emily through the labyrinth, keeping our heads down and our movements quick. As we reach the central room, the sounds of voices and laughter grow louder. We slip into the shadows, watching as a group of people gather around a large table covered in cash, jewelry, and other valuables. At the head of the table sits Marcus, a tall, imposing man with a sharp gaze that misses nothing. Emily, Marcus says, his voice carrying a hint of menace. Who are your friends? They're new, she replies, keeping her tone steady. Good at what they do. Thought they'd be a valuable addition to the team. Marcus studies us for a moment, then nods. Welcome, he says. Let's see what you can do. We move closer, blending in with the group as best we can. Jake and I exchange glances, silently communicating our next steps. Tony's equipment captures every detail, recording the transactions and conversations happening around us. As the night progresses, I catch snippets of plans for future heists and discussions about previous scores. It's clear that Marcus runs a tight ship, with each member playing a specific role in the operation. The more we learn, the more dangerous our situation becomes. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes through the warehouse, followed by the blaring of an alarm. Panic erupts as people scramble to grab their belongings and flee. Marcus' eyes narrow, and he barks orders, trying to maintain control. Stay close, Emily whispers, grabbing my arm. This is our chance to get out. We move quickly, sticking to the shadows as we make our way back through the maze of corridors. The alarm continues to blare, adding to the chaos. Just as we reach the exit, a group of guards blocks our path. Stop right there, one of them shouts, raising his weapon. Before I can react, Jake lunges forward, tackling the guard to the ground. A scuffle ensues, but we manage to overpower them and burst through the door. Outside, the cool night air is a stark contrast to the stifling atmosphere inside the warehouse. We need to get to the safe house, Emily says, her breath coming in short gasps. It's not far from here. We run through the deserted streets, our footsteps echoing in the silence. My heart pounds in my chest, adrenaline fueling my movements. When we finally reach the safe house, we collapse inside, locking the door behind us. Did we get everything? I ask, turning to Tony. He nods, holding up the recording devices. Every last detail. We've got enough to take them down. Good, Jake says, leaning against the wall. Now we need to get this to the authorities. Over the next few hours, we compile the evidence, making sure everything is in order. Emily provides additional information, filling in the gaps and ensuring that our case is airtight. As dawn breaks, we make our way to the police station, our resolve unshaken. The officers listen intently as we present our case, their expressions growing graver by the minute. By the time we're finished, they have everything they need to launch a full-scale operation against Marcus and his crew. You've done a great service, Detective Harris says, shaking our hands. We'll take it from here. And you, he adds, turning to Emily, will be placed under protection. You did the right thing coming forward. As we leave the station, a sense of relief washes over me. It's not over yet, but we've taken the first step towards justice. Emily walks beside me, her expression a mix of fear and hope. Thank you, she says softly. For believing in me. I nod, squeezing her hand. We're in this together. No more lies, no more deception. Just the truth. As we walk into the rising sun, I know that our journey is far from over. But for the first time in a long time, I feel a glimmer of hope. Together, we'll face whatever comes next, determined to bring an end to the web of deceit that has ensnared us all. Days turn into weeks as the police operation against Marcus and his crew intensifies. Emily, now under police protection, assists the authorities with every detail she can remember. Jake, Tony, and I stay close, ready to support however we can. The tension is palpable, but there's a sense of resolve in the air. We're close to bringing this nightmare to an end. One evening, Detective Harris calls us in for a briefing. We've located Marcus's new hideout, he says, pointing to a map. An abandoned mansion on the outskirts of the city. Tonight, we move in. We need your help to confirm his presence and identify key players. Emily's face pales. I know the place. Marcus mentioned it once. It's heavily guarded. That's why we need to be careful, Harris replies. We go in, get the evidence, and get out. You three will accompany our undercover team to provide backup. As the sun sets, we gear up and head to the rendezvous point. The mansion looms ahead, its silhouette casting long shadows in the moonlight. We move in silence, the only sounds being the crunch of gravel under our feet and the distant call of night creatures. Inside the mansion, we split into teams. Tony and I stick with Emily while Jake and the detectives take the other wing. The plan is simple: find Marcus, gather evidence, and signal for the police to move in. We navigate the dark hallways, our flashlights casting eerie shadows on the walls. Emily leads us to a large room at the center of the mansion, where voices echo through the closed doors. We press our ears against the door, straining to hear. Tonight's shipment needs to go smoothly, Marcus's voice booms. No mistakes. Tony nods to me, and we prepare to burst in. But just as we push the door open, a hand grabs my shoulder, pulling me back. I turn to see Jake, his face pale and eyes wide. Alex, it's a trap, he whispers urgently. Harris is working with Marcus. I overheard them planning this. My heart skips a beat. What do you mean? There's no police backup. This whole operation was a setup to get rid of us and tie up loose ends. A cold sweat breaks out on my forehead. We need to get out of here. Now. We backtrack through the hallways, but it's too late. Guards appear, blocking our escape routes. Harris steps out from the shadows, a smug grin on his face. Going somewhere? He sneers. You really thought you could take down Marcus? Rage and betrayal surge through me. You used us. Harris shrugs. Business is business. Marcus pays well to keep his operations running smoothly. Emily steps forward, her eyes blazing with anger. You're despicable. I trusted you. Harris laughs. Big mistake. Before he can react, Tony lunges at him, knocking the gun out of his hand. Chaos erupts as we fight our way through the guards, adrenaline and desperation fueling our every move. I grab Emily's hand and pull her towards a side door, our only chance at escape. We burst into a small courtyard, but more guards close in. Just as we're about to be overwhelmed, a loud explosion rocks the mansion, sending debris flying. Jake appears, holding a detonator. Go, now, he shouts, covering our retreat. We sprint towards the edge of the property, the sounds of gunfire and shouts fading behind us. My heart pounds in my ears as we reach the fence and climb over, collapsing on the other side. Safe, for now. As we catch our breath, Emily looks at me, tears streaming down her face. What do we do now? We finish this, I say, my voice firm. Marcus and Harris won't get away with this. Over the next few days, we regroup and plan our next move. With the evidence we manage to gather, we reach out to a trusted journalist, Sarah, who has a reputation for exposing corruption. She agrees to meet us in a secluded cafe. As we sit down with Sarah, we lay out the whole story, Marcus's operation, Harris's betrayal, and the evidence we've collected. She listens intently, her eyes widening with every detail. This is huge, she says. If we can get this out to the public, it'll be the end of Marcus and Harris. That's the plan, I reply. But we need your help to make sure it sticks. Sarah nods, determination in her eyes. Leave it to me. I'll make sure this story gets the attention it deserves. The next morning, headlines scream the news: crime syndicate exposed, corrupt detective unmasked. The public outcry is immediate and intense. Police are forced to act, and within hours, warrants are issued for Marcus and Harris's arrest. As the crackdown unfolds, we watch from a safe distance, relief washing over us. Emily stays close, her hand intertwined with mine. It's over, she whispers, a note of disbelief in her voice. Almost, I reply. We need to make sure they pay for what they've done. Days later, we're called in to testify. The courtroom is packed, tension hanging heavy in the air. Marcus and Harris sit at the defendant's table, their expressions a mix of anger and resignation. As we take the stand, we recount everything: the lies, the betrayal, the danger. The jury deliberates for what feels like an eternity, but when they return, the verdict is clear: guilty on all counts. The room erupts in applause, justice finally served. As we leave the courthouse, I feel a weight lift off my shoulders. We've done it. Emily squeezes my hand, her smile bright despite the turmoil we've endured. What's next? She asks. I look at her, the woman who started as a part of the deception but became an ally and friend. We move forward, I say. Together. The sun sets as we walk away, the promise of a new beginning ahead. We've faced the darkness and come out stronger, ready to embrace whatever the future holds. And for the first time in a long time, I feel a sense of peace, knowing that we've made a difference and that, together, we can face anything.